back to the Artefactors Union. I'm your host and foreman, Doug the Scoundrels, and today we're assembling more alts. Specifically, we are assembling the 3 barely together models. Alt Kaeris, Squatty Kaeris if you will, Vintage Douglas McMourning, and Alt Bishop where he's not tiny. Let's start with him. Here's our sprue. Pretty simple. I'm going to grab the body, then we'll slap the chest on there as well as the face. Then we'll do right leg, right arm, left arm. Okay, so grab this model and then this bit and then this one. This is our body looking at it from the front, now at the chest. And that's what it looks like combined. Now let's go grab our face and after. Okay, let's do the legs. View from the back, right leg, and left leg. Okay, let's do our right arm, which is the one holding the hook and chain. There we go. Now let's do our left arm, the last one. There we go. Let's get him on a base. He's all done. Alt Bishop is done. No real hard parts. I guess maybe the chest and face. That's really it. Very simple. Looks good, though. Let's move on to our next alt. Okay, I'm now realizing this is the one that does not match its artwork on the card. She's actually kneeling and shooting a fireball with both of her hands. So we will grab her torso. We'll start with the bottom, so we'll do her right leg, which is the one that is up. And then we'll actually attach the sword to the left leg before we glue the left leg on. Then we will move to the back. We'll do both of the wings. I think this one goes on the bottom and this one goes on the top. She's got 2 connection holes on the back. And after that, her head and her hair. Once we've got that done, we'll figure out if we want to glue the arms to the fireball before we glue them on, or more likely we will do an arm, the fireball, and then another arm. Okay? Let's grab the body first and then the right leg. Body and the right leg is the one that isn't up. My bad. But this is how it's supposed to look. Whoops. Let's grab the other leg, the left leg, and put the sword on it. The sword's got this little tooth right here, and then the leg on the other side has a connection for that tooth. Left leg plus the sword. This one can be rotated pretty easily, so just get it to where you think it should be, and we can always fudge it because we're going to insert the left leg now. Left leg, like the right leg, doesn't really have a strong connection point. You're going to check your seams and just make sure it looks good to you, and then set her down on the ground. Make sure she can sit flatly on the knee and the foot. And then nudge your sword around if you want to just throw a bunch of stuff on the floor. Make sure it's not hitting the coat and it's not like touching the ground or anything. But yep, this is good. We're going to call her good. Let's look at the wings. Do our left wing first, which is this one, which will sit lower on the back, and then the right wing after that, which will sit higher up on the back. The 2 connection points are different sizes, so you shouldn't accidentally confuse one for the other. View for back, left wing. Section. It's going to be a lot more difficult doing the right wing second, so we're going to start with the right wing, and then we'll put the left wing in. So see now, 1 and 2. Now let's do her head. This will be her face, and this will be her hair. I guess her head. Well, actually, let's go ahead and add the hair on the back first. There we go. As far as orientation, you'll notice that the one strand of hair that's attached to the face bit goes right in between the sort of gap between the hair bit. Now let's put that on her neck. Thing of note is that there is a tooth here that you shouldn't trim off because that's actually a connection point for the head. Make sure I didn't lose that. There it is. Okay. Grab by the hair. This is your face. That fits right in the sort of notch side of her neck. Let's start by adding her left arm. Might be hard to see, but there is actually a connection tooth on her shoulder right there. You kind of see the bump. And that will, of course, connects to the gap in her shoulder, and I will show you the second the arm comes back to me because I can't seem to keep a hold of it. Here, I'm stalling for time. Okay. There. So, well, yes, her hand is going to be grabbing it. There is a notch right here, a tooth, and that is going to correspond with... It's nearly impossible to see, but that's right there. You can, if you rotate them a little bit, you can see the connection point. It's just a little bit different than the rest of the flame effect. Here it is attached, and few things. One, I ended up pushing the arm up so it's closer. It's pointed more perpendicular to the ground than towards the ground. And then after I glued it in there, I did a lot of fiddling with it. Basically make sure that it's following the line of the arm, more or less, and that if you look at it straight on, it kind of looks like she is just shooting it out of her arm, which is good. So that's relatively solid, or at least as solid as it's going to be with such a small connection point. So we're going to go ahead, maybe nudge it up ever so slightly more, and then we're going to go ahead and attach the left arm, and then call her good. Use the right arm, and that actually makes it a pretty solid connection. The sort of tail of it sits in the palm of the left arm. I don't know if I said left or right, so there's the left arm. And here's some good view of it from the bottom that you'll need. Again, as long as it's looking fairly straight, coming out from her arms. Both the arms are relatively parallel to each other as well as parallel to the ground, and the fireball just looks good. I'd say call it good instead of being too darn specific. Yeah, I like it. We'll just put her on a base and call her good. Kaeris is done, taking up way more than 30 millimeters on her base. This was difficult. It was very difficult. Just with how the arms don't really set in very strongly into the positions, and the wings requiring a assembly order, and the frickin' fireball and how it's supposed to interact with the hands. That was tough, but I got it done, and you should be able to get it done too. Let's look at our next one. Vintage McMourning should be a little bit easier than Kaeris. Take his body, add his apron onto his front. We'll do the left arm, and actually we'll do the right arm, the right hand, the left arm, and then the face. Alright, so these two bits first. And the apron goes on just fine. Now let's do the right arm, the one that doesn't have a hand. Is holding that right arm up. Now add the hand onto it. Should definitely wait for the right arm to cure before you do so, because it'll take a little fiddling to get that seam clean. Alright, left arm will connect here as well as under the right glove. Mild correction, it's not underneath the right glove. It's technically like holding on to a piece of it. You can see the seam right there, so that's where it's supposed to go. Now add the face. Almost done. It would have been smarter to put that on before the arms, but also not the most impossible thing to do. Just slightly more difficult because the arms are there. I'm sure you'll be fine. Let's put him on a base. He's done. Whoops. Vintage McMourning. All done. Hardest part is getting the hand to align correctly on the glove and align the left arm to connect to the right arm to make it really look like he's stretching on that glove. But got it. He's got... Goodness, you got a haircut since first edition. Okay, let's build some bears. Okay, barely togethers, these things. 3 of them. So we'll just go down the line 1, 2, 3, same order as the instructions online. So we're going to start with this first, the easiest one. So put the 2 halves of the body together. Then probably right arm, left arm, and the tongue. And that's it. Let's get started. Back half plus the front half. And checked, and yeah, it does look like this is right arm and left arm. Here's the right arm. Notice the stitches on the bear's body line up with notches on the arm, as well as the stitches on the arm line up with notches on the body. Let's do the left arm. Stitches line up the exact same way on this one. So do the tongue and we're done. So cute. Alright, base them. First barely together is done. We're going to call this one Cotton Carnage because I'm just stealing the names from the web store, and looks like I got a thumbprint on him. Whoops. Anyways, really no hard parts. Figuring out the right from the left arms. Yeah, we'll say that's the hard part. That's it. Let's move on. Our second barely together. Similar to the first one, but now we've got to do legs. So we'll do the two halves of the body. I believe this is the right leg, and this... No, sorry, this is the left leg, and this is the right one. Hopefully, we'll see. And then left arm, right arm, and tongue. So I'll let you know if I got those wrong, but two halves of the body. Left leg, right leg, left arm, right arm, tongue. Back half, plus the front half, very Mr. Potato Head shaped. Alright, let's see if I got the legs right. Hooray, I was correct. That is the left leg, which means that the right leg is that one. There is our right leg. So let's go to the arms. Showed you which one was right and which one was left. Let's do the left arm. That is how it looks. Again, just align the stitching with the holes. And a reminder, this is the right arm, the one that's left. Our right arm is in. Let's do the tongue, call it good. All those teeth and no toothbrush. Let's base them. Barely together, number 2 is done. We're going to call this one Wicked Whimsy. Again, really no difficult parts. Figuring out the right from the left legs is the hardest, and that's not really hard. So, very, very simple. Many teeth. Let's move on to probably the hardest model in this set. The third Barely Together. The swarm is a bit of a mess, but we can do it. I know we can. I believe in you. Okay, so we're going to effectively assemble a bunch of different chunks going off of the instructions I have online. So we'll start from the top. We'll grab this guy and we'll go ahead and glue him to the dude that is just an upper jaw. I believe he's down here somewhere. Yep, this one. Then we'll also glue that man's upper jaw to himself, which I believe is this one. So we're going to first assemble these 3. Okay, first, our grumpy guy, the connection point we really want to look at is this tooth right here. Oops. If we look at the gentleman's upper jaw, we turn it this way, we can see where that connects right here in this hole. Here's how that looks, and the view from the back. Let's hurry up and put that gentleman's lower jaw on. We can focus the camera. There we go. It goes on pretty easily, and there's a bit of sliding around, but if you check your seams and it looks good to you, it should be fine. Okay, let's move on to some more bears to construct. Notice I had this upside down earlier. I apologize. Next is going to be this gentleman, which right here is going to be a combination of 2 legs. This bit. No, this one, I think. Yep, this guy is what's going to go here. And then on the other side of him is a big old hole. And in that hole is going to be this piece. Okay? I was incorrect. We're supposed to be using this leg. I apologize. We'll save that one that was here for something else. Okay, yeah, that's the correct bit. That's what it looks like. He's so excited. So now let's do the other one I pointed out. And there is that one. So this is what he looks like head on. Okay, what about that bit we accidentally clipped out? Well, that is going to connect to this gentleman, and it's going to be right in here. And then his other side has got a big old hole, which is going to be this one. So I believe that was over here. The 2 legs go onto this guy, and then this goes on his left side. Alright, here's the gentleman. Now the bit we accidentally clipped off earlier. There it is attached. If you're looking for orientation, remember the ear is attached to that bit. So now let's fill in this big old cap on his side. And there we go. Both bits are attached. Now let's grab our last guy that needs a leg. It's this gentleman, and wait, I've got the sprue upside down again. Goodness. Be him, and this is his back leg. So a slight mistake in the online instructions, that's fine. This bit doesn't actually connect to this gentleman at all. It connects to, whoops, this guy. And the leg is actually going to go right in there. There we go. So now we can start assembling all of them. I'll let you know when we bring in the guy that's still left on the sprue. But let's go ahead and combine the previous bit that I thought this leg was attached to onto this gentleman on this side. Okay, they're combined. That's looking pretty good. I think our next step is actually going to take the bit that we didn't clip out, this guy, that's the front. We're looking at the back and kind of the side. See that big hole right there that is going to correspond to this tooth right here. And so when you put both of them together, there'll be plenty of gaps, but it'll fit very nice and snug. Let's see if I can do that here on the camera. Whoops. Well, you almost saw how it went. And that's what it looks like combined. I'm just in the mood for dropping things, apparently. But that's what they look like over there. So let's take this gentleman right here, this one. And then he is going to jam right into that gap. Okay, there he is. So let's just do a good full 360 view of all of them. And then go back this way. So this hole is where our last set of bears is going to be, and they're going to be kind of like that. Ah, there we go. It takes a little bit of squishing to get in there, just for it to like settle and fix some of the connections that you may have not gotten perfectly. Right there, I think I need to squish them down a little bit because that paw should be covering that gap in the head, but that's just a little bit more work for me. But overall, he looks great and done. Let's put him on a base. Barely Together number 3, or the Bear Swarm, is done. We're going to call this one We Are Ouijan. Yeah, this was hard. Yeah, just patience and that I showed you where the things go. The actual like dexterity needed to assemble this stuff wasn't terribly difficult. It's just figuring out how it all goes together. And I showed you how it all goes together. And now you also have a 3D or 360 look at it, so you should have a perfectly fine time. Let's look at all of the ones we put together today. Our third round of prizes and alts is done. We've got an alt bishop, an alt Kaeris, a vintage McMourning, 1, 2, 3 barely togethers, which are alt versions of Stitch Together. And hardest goes to the barely togethers with Kaeris as a close second. Yeah. But you saw what the hard parts were, and I think, again, being able to see things from all angles is going to give you the edge you need to really get through these just fine. But I have been your foreman, Douglas Scoundrels, helping you build a better Malifaux. Hello, Wednesday. Hi, Wednesday. Hi, Wednesday.